Hola, hola. Sherry and Claude, queridos amigos, muy buenos días. Gracias por estar con nosotros en su programa Café con Leche. Les habla Lilia Galindo, me acompaña Michael Dutton aquí en su programa. Y bueno, Violeta está en los controles. Michael, we are so close to the election, March 15, March the 5th, March
Right.
the 5th.
Mhm.
And then why this change came? Why we just used to vote on June for the primary,
Mhm.
and what do
Well,
you?
the California primary used to be one of the last ones,
Oh,
and there was such an upheaval in the election cycle that and there are so many delegates at stake in the primary that they wanted the nation to have a better sense of what the political balance looked like. So they moved it from June to March. And they did the same thing in South Carolina. It was I think a June primary, and they moved it from June to February.
no.
And they've already, as a matter of fact, they've already had theirs. And it's sort of like it's like New Hampshire and Iowa. You know, they get in the news, and a lot of discussion gets had about the political landscape and what it looks like. And two states that have good large amount of delegates were still hanging in the balance. You couldn't really see or tell, in the long run what things were going to kind of look like, so that each candidate can get some sense of where they are standing before they have their convention and then select. Each party can then select who their candidates are going to be for November.
Bueno, le estoy preguntando, ¿a qué se debió el cambio de la elección primaria? Solíamos tenerla en junio y ahora se cambió al 5 de marzo, que es el primer martes de marzo. Y le decía yo, ¿a qué se debió el cambio? Dice, bueno, porque California tiene muchos delegados cuando se vota aquí y era muy tarde porque se hacía hasta junio, era una de las más tardías y por eso se cambió a marzo para que nosotros podamos tener idea de cuántos votos de delegación se van a obtener. También en Carolina del Sur también se hizo el mismo cambio. Eran estados que tenían bastantes delegados, California y South Carolina, que lo cambiaron también y ya lo adelantaron a febrero, Carolina del Sur. Así es que dice, así se puede ver exactamente con cuántos delegados se puede contar. Do you think that is going to influence the election in November? Because if you see that some parties already has so many delegates, maybe, oh, I'm going to vote for the winner.
Well, it's really hard to say because there is so much bravado and discussion about politics in the spring that doesn't mean anything really in November, because people are looking and they're listening and they're paying attention before they make up their minds. So whatever gets said and done in this stage of the game is really preliminary,
No.
because people, they'll take some time to make up their mind about what they're going to do.
Le preguntaba yo si este voto adelantado podría influenciar los resultados de la elección de noviembre. Dice, pues no creo porque las personas están oyendo y tratando de hacer la decisión de por quién van a votar y se toman todo ese tiempo. Así es que para noviembre pues ya es otra decidir por quién van a votar en esa elección de noviembre. So, many people still don't vote in primaries. What do you tell them?
Well, I think it's people who are eligible to vote are not exercising their citizenship when they don't vote in primaries, because it's an important step in the process. And the primaries, like I say, is who determines the delegate count, if you will, and how each candidate measures up, so that the party can then select who their major candidate will be, and who the vice president or whoever's running for the presidency can choose who is going to be their running mate. Who do they want to run for re-election with? because that decision hasn't been made yet either. It's just like President Biden uh, doesn't have to have uh,
Kamala.
President Harris as his running mate when he runs for reelection. Uh, Chances are he will, but it doesn't have to be that way. And they use, of course, the polls and the delegate counts and things in the primary to make up their mind about who they're going to run with and what their platform is going to look like, so that they can talk and go to the places in the country where it looks like they need to, have some more exposure and more contact to beef up the turnout.
Bueno, estamos hablando entonces, ¿por qué? Le preguntaba yo, muchas personas no votan en la elección primaria. ¿Y cuál es el problema de eso? Bueno, pues dice, en primer lugar van a dejar de elegir la persona que quieran que noviembre, porque entonces acuérdense que es una elección primaria porque se selecciona quiénes van a ser los que nos representen a nivel de su partido en la elección de noviembre. Entonces, si no vota, pues puede que manden candidatos que no vayan a ganar en la elección de noviembre, pero dice incluso para correr para presidente y vicepresidente, también se elige quién es el candidato más fuerte para representarnos, porque por ejemplo, Kamala Harris es la actual vicepresidenta, pero no necesariamente tiene que ser la candidata en noviembre. Aunque hay mucha probabilidad de que sea, pues no necesariamente tiene que ser ella. And you know, there is a lot of people, what I listen in the radio programs, like, oh, can you imagine if Biden passed away during his term? It's going to be Kamala Harris, they still don't want a woman as president, like they did with Hillary Clinton. And do you know, even in Mexico, we already have a woman who is going to be candidate for the next election to become a president. This is something so huge.
Yeah.
Well, Kamala is a woman and is a minority, and they is like, wow, they don't want to go through what they went with Obama, even though the majority voted by Obama, for Obama.
Yeah.
Then some people start to create something really bad, because it was when we elected President Obama, it was like everybody was together, no? We were joined,
Right.
and thinking in the country was going to be great. And then it started with the little things that, oh my God. And he was café con leche, because he was black but with white. So I thought, well, that is great. That is it was like, in my opinion, it was like the representation of what is the community in America, a mixed community with so many races and so
Right.
many colors. And look what happened.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was, what we're living now is the backlash of the Obama administration. Joe is his vice president, and then he got elected to be president. And there are a lot of people who uh, support Citizen Trump to run for the presidency, because he was saying and doing what they were thinking, that's the reverb, if you will, of the Obama administration, because it was, we're living in a nation that once enslaved black people, and the people who did the enslaving, their descendants are still here, and they couldn't fathom, the progress that our country has made in the direction of learning and understanding, and knowing that now there are people of good quality and worth and value among all races. And so, that didn't sit too well, doesn't sit too well, even in his own party. Obama's party, there was a group of people who called themselves the Blue Dog Democrats, that were against Obama. And so, there's just been a lot of evolution, if you will, or development, or the factions within parties, and The whole Republican Party is changed. It's not the Republican Party anymore. It's people who idolize Donald Trump. The idolatry that they're so much against, they can't see that that's what they're practicing themselves. So it's hard to say how things will unfold. I'm hopeful, and I think the fabric of America is strong, and I believe that for people who actually believe in our Constitution and our democracy, will rise to the surface and do the right thing, if you will.
Estamos hablando de que en esta elección le digo que, bueno, ya saben, Kamala Harris es la actual vicepresidenta, pero que se ha hecho mucha publicidad negativa en contra de ella. Le digo, lo que pasa es que no quieren tolerar que una mujer sea presidenta, y menos que sea una mujer de las minorías la vicepresidenta, porque dicen, ¿qué tal si se muere Joe Biden durante los 4 años de su presidencia? Y entonces ella se va a venir a convertir en la presidenta, y es como si les causa pánico, terror y lo que quieras, ¿no? Y estamos hablando como el presidente, cuando fue electo el presidente Obama, pues una gran mayoría votamos por él, ¿no? Y era la significación de un presidente que era hijo de una mujer blanca con una persona de africano. Entonces era como la muestra de que eso es lo que somos en Estados Unidos, una población totalmente mezclada entre varias razas, y tenía una aceptación increíblemente alta. Ganó con muchísimos votos, pero luego empezó la malinformación y el crear cosas en contra de él, que fue un excelente presidente. Michael nos estaba diciendo, definitivamente eso es lo que somos los Estados Unidos, y tenemos que tener la conciencia de que pues lo más importante es que salgamos a votar para elegir a alguien importante, y alguien que realmente nos pueda representar, porque los Estados Unidos se ha convertido en una cosa que ya no es posible sostener. Ya no hay esa cohesión que había entre todos nosotros. Y I think that people is so upset because the situation for many changed so much after the Great Recession, that President Bush created a Republican, and then everybody lost everything. And I can understand, the American dream. Do you remember that they were having so much good salaries, they were dressing so nice, they were skinny and handsome, and all of a sudden they used to go to live 6 months in Mexico, 6 months here, um, so many privileges that they lost all of a sudden. Houses, pensions, work, jobs, everything was lost. And I can understand why they are upset, because you have lived all your life a beautiful life, and all of a sudden you have nothing, or almost nothing. I think the 60% of the population, Hispanic population, lost almost everything that they have accumulated since they came as an immigrant. And I imagine that too many other people happened the same, because they were, do you know, the situation that was created was spend your money, don't pay your bills, just the credit, because the credit is so good, just do buy whatever you can. And everybody has some beautiful houses they sold in for example, in LA. They came here, they bought here, but instead of paying the house, they just gave the down payment, and they spent a lot of things in beautiful furniture to match with the beautiful house,
Mm-hmm.
beautiful things, many toys, and all of a sudden they couldn't pay anything, and they lost.
Yeah, well, the quote unquote balloon payment came up, and they
Mhm.
couldn't pay it, and so they had to lose what they had put some money into, but they didn't continue. They didn't honor the agreement and come up with the extra funds when the quote unquote balloon payment
Mhm.
matured. And so, it's
Now it's your
Lending money to people who can't afford it is a trap for those people, and they don't oftentimes see and know and understand how they're being entrapped.
uh-huh.
They don't until
And
the hammer drops.
to make the situation worse, if you had some savings,
Yeah,
if you had some investment in the stock market,
yeah,
forget about you lost
yeah.
everything.
Things started to implode, and there were tremendous. Well, there had to be, I mean, tremendous bailouts by the government to save these corporations who were, you know, practicing some very, very illegal lending practices and what have you. And, the lending agencies were like loan sharks. I mean, they were giving people loans left and right. And, and the people were not planning for the day when that loan matured and the balloon payment came up. And it was like, well, I don't have that kind of money. Well, then you lose your home.
So sad. Estamos hablando de toda la tragedia que se ha creado y por qué muchísima gente está resentida en contra de la situación ahora. Y ellos no entienden que fue o no se quieren acordar que fue el producto de las políticas que implementó el expresidente George Bush y que creó que esa gran recesión donde todo el mundo perdió todo, perdió trabajos, perdió sus casas, perdió sus carros, perdió sus ahorros, sus pensiones, todo lo que habían acumulado después de tener una vida tan cómoda y tan confortable que vivían en unas casas muy bonitas, etcétera, etcétera, y todos se lo pusieron de culpa. Todavía no quieren reconocer de quién fue la culpa y por eso están tan resentidos. We are going to take a break and we will be back. And